welcome back to the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show. Tim Benz and Coach Jerry Schmitt with you, brought to you by UPMC and the UPMC Health Plan, the official healthcare provider of Duquesne Athletics. Coach Jerry Schmitt brought to us by Cordia, creating energy solutions. Coach Schmitt, 20 years. How you feeling about it?
Feel really good about it. We're here at football season finally. That's always the exciting part of football is we're going to play football here in a little bit of time.
How about 2 decades come and gone as head coach of the program? Where have you felt you've put your stamp on it the most, and where have you seen the most growth for the program overall during your time here?
Well, obviously, when I came here, we were 1AA non-scholarship, and we made that move to scholarship 2008, I believe it was, and so we started out at the lower end of the conference and started to build, and then established our way there in the conference where we were competing every year. And I think that's really important that we continue to progress.
When you look at your team coming back after a conference championship, your third berth in the FCS playoffs since Duquesne has been in the NEC, you've shared now 9 conference championships during your time as head coach. You can speak to this. What is the onus? What is the responsibility of coming into a season as a conference champion? What sort of different tone is there that exists around the program, knowing that you're defending a conference title?
It's really not different than any preparation. We've got to put ourselves back into the work ethic, and we're 0-0 right now, and we talk about in the off season celebrating the conference title and everything that goes with it, and we enjoy it, from the banquet to all the accolades, the rings. We enjoy all that, but we also understand that we have to prepare for the next season. Those guys that are returning, and we have a bunch of them, they understand now the challenge that we are faced to get to that point to compete for it.
Amplifying that point, the guys that are coming back, the players that you have returning, what were the defining characteristics of that team last year that you hope are imprinted on this team this year so you can sustain the momentum that you built towards the end of last season going into the playoffs?
We certainly had some talented football players. It was very evident, making some big plays on all parts of the game, offense, defense, special teams. But the key point was these guys stuck together. They believed all the way from top to bottom. Just an example I've used many times. We had a young man that did not make the travel squad halfway through the season, had a strip sack in the fourth quarter of the championship game against Merrimack. That exemplifies what this team was. They understood from top to bottom the guy that catches all the touchdowns is as important as the scout team guy that's preparing and potentially might help us, but does help us. So that group effort, that team effort, as what everybody has to put into getting to that point, now has moved on to this year. And I see it in the guys, the way they worked in the offseason and now in camp.
One of the guys who is coming back, one of those talented players, the guy who's throwing the touchdowns, is Darius Parentis, your quarterback, all NEC a season ago, 21 touchdowns. Where did his game develop the most last season, and where do you think it can still reach a higher ceiling?
Well, he's really talented. He's got a great arm. He's got good feet. He really gets out of the pocket well. He looks down the field, and that was huge last year for us. But he began to develop his reads and understanding where he can go execution-wise to add to his talent and his arm strength. And he continues to do that in camp. He's done a really good job here in the offseason.
Now, you lost 2 wide receivers that led the way last year for you statistically, in Darius Powell and Keyshawn Brown. So what do you have coming back in that department? And do you think you have the size there that you need? I know like guys like DJ Powell, for instance, that the long range, he's down the sideline guy. Do you have somebody like that in the mix?
Well, we've always thrived on guys of that stature. Obviously, that gives them an opportunity to go up and get balls. We have some guys that didn't have the star status through the season that played for us and were critical in our wins last year that are back. Teddy Offal, Joey Isabella, those guys are back and they're working really hard. Jermaine Johnson was hurt last year, so he now is healthy and ready to go. So those guys can go up and get 50-50 balls, might not be as tall, but have some vertical jump on them, and they can get up and get balls.
As far as the running backs go, I know you lean into the run game. Taj Butts, Jamaria Clements, as a duo, as a tandem, how do they feed off of each other? Give me some similarities and differences that make them work as a 1-2 punch.
They're both humble guys. They want to win. They work extremely hard. Taj is a guy that, he's got some subtle jump cut moves and a feel and a sense that's innate that helps him avoid big hits. Jamario is a one-cut guy and gets downhill, extremely strong runner and explosive after that one cut. That's the subtle difference they have. They're both very talented.
Lost a couple of pretty good blockers when it comes to tight end and Logan Lutz as well as Quan Easterling. But Noah Canty should be a real nice addition for you. All second-team conference last year from Stonehill. What does he bring?
Well, he played at a high level. They did a great job. And we played against him and saw that. And he wanted to come here and work on his MBA. Because of Duquesne, they have a great MBA program. So that attracted him. And our program attracted him, and he's a hard worker. He's talented. He can go get the football, so that's going to add to that receiving crew. And he does a good job in his blocking scheme, maybe not as big as some of the tight ends that we've had in the past, but he does a really good job. And we've got a couple other guys that are fighting there. Stephen Mayer, transferred in from Syracuse, is going to really help us there.
Now, when we look at the offensive line, there's some familiar names coming back, and one of them is actually returning to Duquesne, and Vince Lumia, who had transferred to Louisville and now back playing guard for you guys this year. How do you feel the offensive line stacks up, especially with his presence coming back?
We've got some experience here. We lost a couple guys, but we've, like I said, like the receivers, these guys were peripheral players playing a lot of snaps for us, and they've been in the program a couple of years, and that's what you need on the offensive line, that cohesion and that communication. And these guys are getting bigger and stronger, working in the weight room and in the off season. And so really happy with him. Gary Satterwhite took over Vince's right tackle spot, but they know each other and they're happy to work side by side. Cam McLaurin's filled in here at center now for Durando. Brian Bidash is a young man that has come on here the last couple of years. You're going to see a lot of football out of him. Chris Oliver and Michael Falla, I think he's been starting 3 years.
Yeah.
So he's a really good player. So we have some cohesion there and a little bit of depth that's going to help us.
On the defensive front, how happy are you to get A.J. Ackerman and Kevin Kersinger back from injury? Those guys really, I thought, had a lot of potential last year. They were both hurt early in the season. And I think that was one of the biggest talking points of last year's team is how you guys danced around losing those two important players so early, as well as some others along the defensive front. You got to be thrilled that they're back with you now.
Very much so. And they stuck around with us the entire season. They traveled with us. They were great leaders, still are. Now they're healthy leaders on the field, getting practice reps and really happy that they are back. That adds to that crew. And those young guys that had to step in, they're now a year older, have a bunch of reps under their belt, and they're pretty excited about getting on the field and going to play, next week against Toledo.
How about linebackers, too, in the front seven while we're on the topic? Gianni Rizzo, all-conference, coming back, and he spoke to me about how middle of the season, he had 2 games back-to-back where he was in double-digit tackles last year, middle part of the season, where we really felt he started to figure things out. Can you speak to me about him and the influence that he has in the middle part of your defense?
Yeah, he got better as the year went on, starting to understand the defense, and happy to have him back. He's been a leader. He's a vocal leader guy, positive all the time. Really excited to have him back. And then Ty Howard was an edge guy for us, a little bit undersized, but very talented. He's going to play at linebacker. Extremely talented. They're going to be a great duo. Luke Harris has been with us a number of years, really good football player, smart as can be. We feel pretty deep at that position, that inside linebacker position.
And secondary, I know you had guys like Gabor, Aiden Garnes, who transferred to West Virginia. I'm hearing great things about how he's playing with the Mountaineers so far in training camp. But you return some experience as well. Jalen Carson and Antonio Epps and C.J. Barnes. Talk to me some about how things are working out when it comes to the secondary so far in training camp.
Donovan Stanley's having a great camp with those guys, and those guys are all competing really hard. We got a couple transfers in also. So the competition in that room is outstanding, which is making everybody better, which makes the receivers better in practice. and we're really competing. I like where we're at. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Obviously, these first couple games, everybody's getting a feel, who's going to step up, who's going to fit roles and positions where they can help us be successful. So very excited about getting started here.
Last two things. First of all, the schedule. As usual, you guys start with a very difficult, daunting couple of tasks. You had Toledo. You're going on the road to play Boston College. You've done this a lot lately, especially going up and playing Power 5, now Power 4 schools. So how do you feel your team is stacking up going into an early part of the schedule that has some significant competition to it?
The approach always has been the one game at a time. It's about us playing our best, regardless of the competition. Always been that way. I always said, didn't that matter if you were playing the Green Bay Packers or you were playing, a lower level school. We're going to go worry about us. Now, on the other hand, it's a great opportunity for our young men to go play at these stadiums and to go play against this competition, just like we did last year against those teams. And, they go play hard. We learn from it. We get better, and we try to give ourselves a chance to compete in the fourth quarter.
Now, a couple things that people are probably aware when they see the conference schedule has changed. You've had some additions to the conference, some subtractions to the conference. It's weird not seeing Sacred Heart in there as a for instance, but yeah. Robert Morris is back, so you got a local rival back. Mercyhurst is in. You get to play them this year. That's just a drive up and down I-79, basically. What do you think about how things have shaken out in the conference?
Obviously, losing Merrimack and Sacred Heart, we're a whole lot happier that we're only driving 20 minutes, right. 2 hours.
Saves on gas.
Well, and the body and all that travel. I mean, last year we played 7 away games, and I think we had 6 of them were overnight trips. It was kind of crazy, and we grinded through that thing. And, whatever the conference is, we're going to go play it, and we're going to look for that first one when we get there.
Well, Coach, again, congratulations on 20 years here at Duquesne University, and best of luck moving forward when it comes to defending the championship.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, head coach Jerry Schmitt, brought to us by Cordia, creating energy solutions. We'll speak with defensive lineman A.J. Ackerman when we return here on the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show, brought to you by UPMC and the UPMC Health Plan, the official healthcare provider of Duquesne Athletics.
I was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer and told you should seek end-of-life care. I went to UPMC, and so the very first time, I didn't get that blank stare. He said, this is what we do, saving lives like mine.
For all your sports watching needs and great food, meet me at Mike's. Mike's Beer Bar was voted best sports bar in Pittsburgh. 300 local beers, 80 local taps, over 500 beers, and steak on a stone. Mike's Beer Bar, next to PNC Park, Federal Street, North Shore.
As Western Pennsylvania's largest regional public accounting firm with local ownership and management, Schneider Downs gives you the global ideas your company needs right here at home. Schneider Downs. Big thinking, personal focus.
Welcome to the Duquesne University Coaches Show, presented by UPMC and UPMC Health Plan, the official healthcare provider and health plan of the Duquesne Dukes. It's time for the Sherwin-Williams Painting the Picture to Victory segment. Sherwin-Williams is the official paint provider of Duquesne Athletics. The Duquesne Dukes football team is poised to continue their winning tradition in 2024, following a triumphant return to the top of the Northeastern Conference in 2023. Last season, the Dukes secured their 6th NEC title and made their 3rd appearance in the NCAA FCS playoffs. After a program best 5-0 start in NEC play, Duquesne clinched the NEC crown with a 26-14 victory at Merrimack in the regular season finale. The Dukes wrapped up the 2023 season with a 7-5 overall record, going 6-1 in conference action. Duquesne has claimed 17 conference titles since 1995, 11 in the MAC and 6 in the NEC, and has posted a 500 or better record in 28 of the 31 seasons played at the FCS level. Guiding the Dukes once again is head coach Jerry Schmitt, the reigning NEC Coach of the Year. Schmitt, now in his 20th season, has built an extraordinary legacy at Duquesne, capturing 9 conference championships across the MAC and NEC, and leading the team to 3 NCAA FCS playoff appearances. With a 120-83 record at Duquesne, Schmitt ranks 6th in wins among active FCS coaches. This season, he surpasses Dan McCann as the longest tenured coach in program history. That was the Sherwin-Williams Painting the Picture to Victory segment. Sherwin-Williams, the official paint provider of Duquesne Athletics.
For all your sports watching needs and great food, meet me at Mike's. Mike's Beer Bar was voted best sports bar in Pittsburgh. 300 local beers, 80 local taps, over 500 beers, and steak on a stone. Mike's Beer Bar, next to PNC Park, Federal Street, North Shore.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. For all the moments you want a beer and need to stay on your game. Budweiser Zero. Zero compromise.
The reason we do this is to change the lives of patients for the better. Pancreatic cancer has a reputation for being a tough cancer to deal with. If you can add mileage to someone's life, the ability for patients to live longer, enjoy time with their family, witness a wedding of a daughter or a son, that's really what we're aiming for.
At Duquesne, it's our joy to help you discover what you're good at and why that's good for the world. We want you to become a problem solver who thinks bigger, who is driven by compassion and empathy. Together, we will work towards achieving your goals and a greater sense of purpose. We're ready with an education that's everything you need and more than you imagined. It's time for bigger goals. Duquesne University.
And welcome back to the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show. Tim Benz along with you. Glad you're with us. We're brought to you by UPMC, the UPMC Health Plan, the official healthcare provider of Duquesne Athletics. Pleased to be joined right now by A.J. Ackerman, defensive lineman for the Duquesne Dukes, who's brought to us by Summit Academy and the Academy Schools, inspiring hope through education and treatment. AJ, looking forward to another season here. This is a 7th year for you at Duquesne. Sixth year. You're going to be a 7th year defensive lineman, but back from injury, which is first and foremost important for you and the entire defensive line. Everybody's looking forward to seeing you play last year. You're able to fight through the injury and come back this year. How excited are you to get back on the field?
I'm really excited. I throughout like middle school, high school, and then into my 5th year of college, I never had an injury before, so never really understood what that felt like, and I was off the field for, it must be like a year by the time we start playing again, so I can't wait.
To that point, what was the hardest part about rehabbing versus playing? I know your body takes a beating throughout the course of a season, but is there a mental aspect that's a grind to the rehab process?
Yeah, the rehab is nothing. I'm in here for hours a day already, like lifting rehab and whatnot, but like you feel a sense of being removed because the season continues on. For you, you're fighting something different than everybody else is.
Now, you guys always start with a strong schedule. You're doing that again this year. For you and for Kevin Kersinger a season ago, you got hurt early before you got to the conference season. As you guys start things off with Toledo and Boston College this year, much like a season ago when you played Coastal and West Virginia to begin, how do you feel that litmus test is going to get you started for this upcoming year?
We've been doing it now since, 21 when we started with TCU. I mean, we've played these big games every year. It's just unfortunate.
State.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate when it happened. But I like it a lot. It's, I don't want to say big football, but it's big time football. You get to go play before you start your season.
Get to see the big stadiums, big lights, big crowds, that sort of thing. And I also think it's a good gauge for where you guys are in terms of your own execution by the time you get into NEC play.
Yeah, I mean, you get to go see who you can compete with.
You know, when you see the X's and O's, you see the size of the players and maybe how they pop on film before you get in. Perhaps it's a little bit daunting, but once the whistle blows and once you guys start playing, does it kind of even out after a while?
I mean, yeah, but the first time you run out on that field, it's the same thing. It's the same field. It's the same everything. It's just football.
How about what you and Kersinger can provide now that you're coming back? Where do you think your physical attributes can most help this team?
I mean, me and him complement each other very well. Like, obviously, he's much faster than I am, and in certain situations, I'm stronger. It's just we balance each other out a great deal.
Now about the linebackers, I spoke with Johnny Rizzo a little bit yesterday after practice, and he made the point about where he really felt like there was a mesh point where things came together in the middle part of the season, where maybe you guys were just trying to feel your way through some of the injuries that you suffered, but those that remained and those that were coming up really backfilled nicely, and you could tell that even though they had some close games and some dangerous, tight games in the fourth quarter, that there was the potential to win a championship with that club last year, and you're returning a lot of those guys. How do you feel like that back wave of the defense, the back two-thirds of the defense are behind you guys coming into the season?
I mean, Johnny Rizzo is incredibly smart, and like if you watch and listen to him on the field and the calls of checks he makes everybody right a lot of the time by himself. He's an incredible athlete, but like he's also very smart. And you might see on film and like he might have a moment where he just starts yelling, screaming, pointing, doing things, and he'll get everybody where they need to be. And he does it so quick, it like makes us able to play very fast.
Now, as far as you go, Elizabeth Forward kid, and you played here in Pittsburgh for your college career. What's it been like playing at Duquesne, and how happy are you that you stayed in Western Pennsylvania for school?
Really happy. I mean, I don't think my family's missed a game, even big ones. They've traveled to all of them. It feels like home here. I've known the city for how long, so it wasn't much different once I came here. It just felt like integrated into a new school and continue playing around with friends and family. A bunch of local guys, too.
Yeah, a lot of them. There's a lot on the roster, and that's good to see. And you guys have the honor of coming back this year as conference champions. What's the tone of training camp, and what does it feel like being a defending champion playing this season?
I feel like we're a different team in a sense. I mean, because obviously we've had like coaching changes and player changes. Every year you come into a locker room, it's a completely different team. Guys leave, guys transfer. You get new freshmen that are coming to step up and play, and we bring in new guys. It's just, we're a completely different team. So I don't want to live on past successes. And it's very exciting that, yes, that is what we got to do last year. But I think we have something to prove again every year.
Now, the conference has changed a little bit. You get Robert Morris back at the conference. It's fun to have like the local rivalry back.
I'm really excited for that. Because last time we played them was 2019, and I redshirted that year. That was my freshman year. So I didn't get to play them, but it always sounded fun around like hearing the older guys talk about that game. So, yeah.
Well, AJ, thanks a lot for being a part of this, and best of luck coming up this season. Look forward to seeing you back out playing again, and should be a great year, not only for you, but also for the team. Thanks for taking some time to talk about it.
Thank you very much.
All right, AJ Ackerman, again brought to us by Summit Academy and the Academy Schools as we roll on here on the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show, brought to you by UPMC and the UPMC Health Plan.
Want a great entertaining area for family and friends but short on space? Now there's no reason that you can't be the party house with Leon's Billiards and More convenient space savers. Our versatile dining top pool tables and buffet top shuffleboards allow you to dine first and play after. We can fill all your entertainment needs with game tables, bars, furniture, and more. Professional installation and financing options available. Leon's Billiards and More, bringing family and friends together for over 30 years.
Science doesn't happen in a silo. More and more, we need to have expertise from lots of different fields. And so that's one of the amazing things here at Hillman. Everyone here is committed to doing research that is going to ultimately help patients' lives. So bringing together lots of different smart minds that have a common mission is really the way that we're going to move forward.
It's time to look behind the numbers, courtesy of the accounting and consulting firm Schneider Downs. Find out how big thinking with a personal focus can help your organization. Duquesne has been picked to repeat as NEC champions in the league's preseason coaches poll. This marks the 14th straight season that the Dukes have been ranked in the top 3, with at least one first-place vote in 13 of the last 14 preseason polls. The Dukes won their 6th NEC title last year, tying them for the most in conference history with Albany, Central Connecticut State, Robert Morris, and Sacred Heart. Duquesne has won all 6 of its titles since 2011 and leads the league with 57 conference wins during that span, at least 14 more than any other team in the NEC. With an 87-50-1 all-time record against their 2024 opponents, Duquesne will face Toledo and Boston College for the first time in program history. These matchups mark the 10th and 11th FBS opponents for the Dukes. This will be just the second time in program history that the Dukes start the season against consecutive FBS teams. The first time was 2021, when Duquesne lost to TCU, but then defeated Ohio 28-26, marking the first win over an FBS opponent in program and Northeast Conference history. After 3 straight road games to open the season, Duquesne returns home to face West Virginia Wesleyan on September the 21st. The Dukes enter the season with a 122-35 all-time record on their home turf at Rooney Field. That was a look behind the numbers, courtesy of the accounting and consulting firm Schneider Downs. Find out how big thinking with a personal focus can help your organization. On Thursday, August the 29th, the Duquesne Dukes kick off for their season opener against Toledo at 7:30 p.m. in the Glass Bowl in Toledo, Ohio. This Road Ahead segment is brought to you by Dean Honda. Dean Honda, visit them on Route 51 in Pleasant Hills or at deanhonda.com.